Hi, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of GetUpNGetFit Wellness Coaching Concierge. I'm also a C-suite advisor and investor. You're listening to How May I Serve You, where I'm constantly on the quest to surround myself with the best coaches while learning how to better serve our executive clientele by asking them, How may I serve you? Today's show is sponsored by Get Up and Get Fit. Get Up and Get Fit will be providing students with textbooks and school supplies in Cambodia in honor of our guests today, as well as our philanthropic mission to impact at least 50,000 people per year. And today's guest is Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Dr. Kimberly, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm so glad that you asked me.
Awesome, awesome. After your podcast interview with my buddy, I had to bring you on the show.
That
so,
was
Dr.
enjoyable as well.
So Dr. Kimberly Wilson, LMFT, is the expert for executive in high stress roles experiencing burnout. She assists those who are feeling overworked, overwhelmed, and over it all to reframe their thoughts and develop sustainable practice to live an intentional life. Her mission is to cure 5,500 women of burnout in honor of her grandmother's legacy. That's an amazing, amazing goal right there, Dr. Kimberly Wilson.
Yes, thank you. Yes, my grandmother passed away before 55, and a lot
Oh,
of it
wow.
was due to burnout and doing too much for too many people and not taking care of herself. And that's part of the reason that it inspired me to choose that number because she didn't make it to 55.
Wow, wow. I mean, it's crazy how you were inspired by your grandmother. And so my grandmother was the matriarch of my family as well, and she died of diabetes. And I was so overwhelmed, and I felt at fault regarding
Wow.
not being able to do more because her goal was she wanted to watch me graduate, right? So my freshman year, second semester, that's when she passed away. So
Wow.
I could I can relate when it comes to trying to honor your grandmother, right? So I'm with you. I'm with you. So so Dr. Wilson, I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, right? Where are you from? Give us the 2 minute version.
2 minute version. So I am a Detroiter
Okay.
stranded in the South. So I currently reside in South Carolina. Um, I am a mother, a former Marine,
Oh, okay.
a speaker, an author, and I like to think someone who's a do-gooder who likes to help and serve people, as I've done that my whole life.
Awesome, awesome. So you're basically here to serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My whole life has been about service. My family's life has been about service. My father is a retired arson investigator. My
Okay.
sister is a Detroit police officer. So it's just kind of in our DNA that we are public servants.
That's amazing right there. So why did you get into coaching in the first place?
Well, so as you know, so the LMFT means I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been that since 2000. So giving you a little clue to my age, and so I really enjoyed that. The challenge with that is that it comes from a medical model, and it comes with the belief that there's dysfunction.
Mm,
And I shifted to coaching because I wanted to work from a wellness model more so, and I
mm-hmm.
wanted to expand my reach, not just people that were um, coming from a dysfunctional place or needing more guidance, but those who wanted to improve and do bigger and better things. And so I felt that I could expand my reach because everyone doesn't want to use their health care.
Mm,
And there's also a stigma to mental health.
mm-hmm.
So that's changing. Uh, but that was part of the reason for the shift. And it just expands my audience.
That's amazing right there. So one of the things that attracted me to you was your love for the wellness industry, right? Wanting to help people, especially women who are suffering from burnout. And we all know, especially with the pandemic, a lot of folks have been suffering from burnout, depression, and overall just going through a funk, right? So besides your grandmother's situation, what other what other things inspire you to go towards this route? Why you?
Why me? Well, I think one of the big things is I'm definitely a survivor of burnout,
Okay.
as I've done it multiple decades because I didn't learn my lesson the first couple of times, and I would get into these cycles of overwork and overwhelm and trying to overachieve. Uh,
Hmm.
I'd say part of it is just some of the lessons that I've learned culturally that as an African American female, I had to do more, serve more to go half as far as well as being in male dominated industries.
Hmm.
I felt that I needed to just overachieve and I wouldn't take time to develop myself, to get the rest, to nurture my family. And until my body would give out,
Mm.
then that would be my trigger. But now I've since learned those micro triggers along the way to say, okay, Kim, you're going a little bit too fast. You need to take care of yourself.
Mm-mm-mm. I love the fact that you were able to learn about your micro triggers, because before we get to that next step of taking action, right, or lack of, there's always a trigger, right?
Yes.
Understanding your trigger is so important. People don't understand this, they tend to ignore the triggers because it's normally just like a 5-second window before any type of action is taken, and you recognize
Yes.
that,
Yes.
so you and I are on the same page when it comes to that. So
Right.
that's
Triggers
amazing.
and cues.
Yes,
Sometimes
indeed.
it's important to distinguish the difference between, what are your cues? So the cues are the things, of course, that let you know that, uh-oh, this I noticed this situation is occurring, and your triggers are the situations that you're in.
Mm,
So whenever I have multiple things that I need to perform in, or there's a lot of high expectations in multiple areas of myself, that's kind of a trigger for me because I want to
okay.
show up in my best. And my cues are, it's like, oh, where's my keys? Where's my glasses? Where I start losing things.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not mindful in my experiences. So that those are my cues that, okay, you need to slow down.
Got it. Got it. So you and I both work with high achievers, right? High performers. What tip would you give to a person that's operating at this high level of achievement to be more focused and more streamlined when it comes to their wellness, comes to the overall homeostasis, right? What's up the trick? A tip.
Well, one thing that I really like to do to have those high achievers focus is to make a short list of their top 5 priorities, 3 to 5 priorities. What are they? Whether it's family,
Mm-hmm.
work, spirituality, whatever those things are. And then I ask them to look at their lives, make a little pie chart, and decide and really assess, are they actually giving time and energy to those things that they say are
Mm,
their priorities? And if they're not, they're incongruent. And when we're incongruent, that's really a precursor to burnout because you're not living as you what your stated goals are, what gives you energy. So that's a tip that I like to give.
okay, and that's an amazing tip right there. So basically, focusing on your non-negotiables, on your things that are extremely important.
Yes, yes, I've seen so many, and I've been guilty of this as well. So I'm not going to
We
say
all have. We all
exactly.
have.
I'll say my kids are the most, my most important thing. They are my legacy, and I didn't realize that I was unfocused until I think it was either a paper or a teacher's comment, and my child wrote, "My mother is always on the computer. She's
Oh
always doing
wow.
that," and I said, "Oh." I need to shift my behavior because
Okay.
that's how he's viewing me.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. So
That was a big slap in the face.
that was the aha moment.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So Dr. Wilson, who do you coach primarily, and also what's your coaching style like?
Okay. So I'm going to answer that a little bit backward. I like to take a holistic approach to coaching. I don't just focus on burnout, but we look at multiple areas in their life. We like to see what's functional, what's dysfunctional, where they like to improve, and we take a path, a roadmap to get to that level of improvement. So I like to find the vision. Where is it that you want to go? But because without a vision, you're going to perish. We're just
Exactly.
walking blind. So I wouldn't take a cross country trip without knowing where I'm going. What's my destination? So that's the first thing that I like to approach, and looking at multiple areas in their lives: health, relationships, career, spirituality, and sometimes I bring in other experts to assist them if they need deeper work with that.
I love that.
And the second question was about who is my primary focus, correct?
Correct.
So that's high achievers in executives in healthcare, banking, technology. That's been my jam thus far. That's where I seem to have an expertise, or the people who gravitate toward me. And primarily, it's been women, but also men as well.
Got it. Okay. So what's your coaching style like, right? Because I interview tons of coaches, right? And I've really interacted with a lot of different coaching styles. What's your coaching style like? Are you more of a inquisitive? Do you ask a lot of questions? Are you more of a analytical person? What's your style like? Talk to me.
So kind of eclectic, because I definitely ask a lot of probing questions.
Okay.
And I do challenge. So I let people know that I do challenge them, that if they are not congruent with what their stated goals are. If you're saying that you want to lose weight, but you're going to McDonald's every day, that's really not congruent. So I'm going to challenge you and hold you accountable for those actions. I never tell anyone to do, but I tend to ask them very key questions. That's what I've been told, that I really hold a mirror and help them reframe their thoughts and their situations so that they can get the best outcome.
So you're being a guide.
Yes.
And being a guide is basically the trait that most great coaches exemplify. All right. So you're being a guide. And I love the fact that you mentioned you don't tell them what to do, because most people don't like being told what to do.
Oh, I'm right in that camp.
So I totally get it. So if someone were looking for a coach, what traits would you advise for them to look for?
Well, a big thing for me, I always suggest that people run the other direction if they find someone that needs to tell them what to do.
Okay.
Because no one knows you better, your life, your needs, your wants, your desires better than you yourself. I really try to help people bring out the coach in themselves, because you can be your own best cheerleader. And you asked me the things that they should avoid, correct?
Yeah. The traits. So basically, for instance, if a prospect was looking for a coach, right? What
Right.
traits will be the key traits to look for in their quest and in the discovery to find a coach that will work for them and with them,
Right.
to their best capacity.
Yes. I think someone definitely who has some experience
Mm-hmm.
in and expertise in what you're trying to get to or to gravitate toward. You want to avoid someone who oversteps their reach with that regard. I certainly wouldn't try to be someone's fitness coach. That is not my expertise and not my jam. I can do it, but wouldn't try. As well as avoiding someone who knows it all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I That just doesn't bode well, because I feel like we're all lifelong learners. Even
Yes.
though I'm a university professor, I have a doctorate, I am learning every day. My children teach me every day.
There we
So
go.
we can learn from I love to learn from nature. So
Yes.
they should be humble enough to be able to learn from you as you each grow together.
Yes, indeed. That's part of the life process, right? We're constant learners, right? metamorphosis, right? You learn, you grow, you explore, you grow. That's what growth is, right? Yep. You can't be stagnant. If you're stagnant, oftentimes we become depressed because there's no progression. In
That's
order for you
right.
to progress, you have to constantly consume something different. You have to learn from a different perspective, right? This is why it's good to travel. It's good to interact. Us as social beings, us as creatures that need to socialize in order to thrive, we have to be in that environment. So I'm glad
Right.
you mentioned that.
Yes,
So
connection is so important.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And this is why like so many people were going through depression during COVID, because they were stuck at home, and like the
Absolutely.
depression rate just skyrocketed. It was crazy. So that's true.
Absolutely. I know that part on the mental health aspect. That was another reason that I focused on burnout. I
Mhm.
found myself during the pandemic working 18-hour days. Like, no exaggeration. I was eking out sleep here and there. And I had to just begin to put some boundaries because everyone needed service. And I have a heart of service. And it was so difficult to turn people away because I was also doing work for the cruise ships that were had people
Suffering.
stranded
They were
there. Yeah,
suffering.
they were suffering, and
Mhm.
it was many nations. That's why the 18-hour day is not that I was doing counseling at 3 o'clock in the morning, but they were just being around people around the world. So I had to actually institute that I get 2 hours every day to reset,
Mm,
sleep, shop, take care of my personal needs, whatever that may be. Read a book that
mm.
I needed to feed myself.
Yes, indeed.
And that allowed me to serve people who had mental health concerns much better because I
Yeah.
was in a better place.
You can't pour out of an empty cup now.
No,
You
no,
cannot pour out of
but
an
I
empty
kept
cup.
trying. I kept trying, and after about a couple of weeks of that, I just said, "Okay, I've stopped. I've got to stop this."
Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed. So right now, what does your typical lifestyle look like? Do you have certain things and certain routines you follow in the morning, the afternoon, the evening? Like, talk to me. Let me live vicariously through you.
Okay, so I start my morning by waking up, and I say thank you, Jesus,
Amen.
because I got to wake up, because not everybody had the opportunity to do so. So I'm very
True.
grateful for that. Then I begin by just recentering myself. So I will get in a chair. Sometimes I'll do it in the bed, depending, and I'll just sit still for 15 minutes. So I set my timer on my phone. I have it set to ring at 15 minutes, and I center myself on myself, and I think about my goals and what I want to accomplish for the day, and then I begin getting dressed. While I'm getting dressed, you said you would, so I'm gonna try not to give you too much eye bleeding detail, but I'm gonna give you some detail. On my mirror in the bathroom, there
Okay.
are a few affirmations
Nice.
that I read to myself to keep me centered and grounded and confident so that I can do what I need to do. And then I proceed my day by accomplishing those things. Sometimes I'll make myself a smoothie, or I'll make myself breakfast, um, and or either a protein smoothie, protein shake, or some eggs with spinach in it. Then I go about accomplishing my task. So I make sure that I do not open my email first.
There you go.
I do not open my email. And there's a key reason for that, because I've found when I make the mistake of doing that, well, and one other thing I try to avoid, picking up my phone
Hmm.
before I've done all of those other things. And what I found that happens is that the tail wags the dog. So
Hmm.
I go by everybody else's agenda, and I'm
Hmm.
responding to things, and everything that I set out to say was important for me to do in those 15 minutes, and really focus and get connection with God. All those things are out the window
Out the window.
because I need to find this, respond to this, type that, and I'm stressed.
Mm.
So after I accomplish what I need to accomplish or set out to do, then I tackle my emails.
Amazing, amazing. It's funny how much alike we are because I actually keep my phone away from my bedroom
Ah.
intentionally because I know I have a habit of grabbing my phone and going to emails and social media. So because I know my triggers,
Hmm.
I'm much more aware. So I have a non-negotiable. My phone stays in office, in my office, right?
That's
So
good.
it's literally you have to know yourself. This is why you have to learn about your habits, learn about your triggers, learn about your pros and your cons. So I'm glad you have these these tips,
Practices.
these practices that you follow on a consistent basis. Because whatever I'm big on habit, right? I'm big on human behavior. Whatever we do on a consistent basis, it becomes habitual.
Yes.
It becomes now these are your habits now. And once you pick up your phone, you don't even think about it. You go right to your emails. You going through, and once you read the email, you want to take action. So
Right.
it's all about being intentional, setting a standard for yourself, creating parameters, right, and then
Yes.
execute it.
Absolutely.
They're making it easier
Right.
for yourself by putting these for instance, you have your affirmation on your mirror, so you don't have to think about it. You go in your bathroom, it's right there. You have to brush your teeth, right, and do your
Right.
face and do your hair. So the goal is to make things easier, so you don't have to burn calories. Your brain doesn't have to think extra. So,
Mm.
ooh, you're doing it. You're doing
Well,
it.
I am about to use that tip that you said about not even bringing my phone into the bedroom. So I might miss a funny video or two. I go to bed, but that's okay. But I definitely need to do that. I think that will get me to bed a lot sooner. So I'm a night owl. So
Oh, okay.
that's my bad habit.
Oh, I got you. I'm a binger, so I tend to binge watch like random stuff. It doesn't even have to be good. That's a problem I'm still working on.
Beautiful,
so
beautiful.
so now it's storytelling time, right? This is like one of my favorite part of the whole podcast.
Okay.
Give me like a 2 to 3 minute success story where you was working with one of your client and you help to bring them past over a hurdle, I would say, right? Towards success.
Okay. So it that would be a young woman.
Okay.
Well, I consider her young for me. So around about in her 30s, married with children in a pretty successful business in the government, pretty high up, and she was definitely overworked and overwhelmed. She was actually doing parts of her supervisor's role.
Wow.
Uh, she was cooking 5-star meals every day. She was homeschooling children and doing. They were males in the home, and they were like teenage age. But she did all of their laundry. She cleaned all of their rooms. She wouldn't allow anyone to do anything, and she just could not figure out why was she was overwhelmed. Well, and in addition to this, she was also caring for parents and caring for other extended family members, like helping them with financial concerns, and she couldn't figure out why she just couldn't handle it during the pandemic anymore. So that virtual schooling tipped it over. So we really worked on her for her definitions of success and what it meant to be a good wife and a good mother.
Hmm.
So we had to tease apart some of those things that no longer were helpful for her.
Okay.
She had some very rigid thoughts about who she was and who she needed to be and how she showed up. And a big part of that was that she needed people to depend on her. And so
Oh,
we found
okay.
ways that she could be loving toward others without sacrificing herself. And
Mm.
she really, it was so beautiful to watch her face when she realized it's like, I allowed my kids to do their laundry and it was okay. And and she allowed them to have a pizza night and it was okay.
Hmm.
She allowed other people to cook, and what she saw, what she saw is that her children began to thrive because they were allowed to make more decisions.
More
She was
independence.
relaxed. Yes, she actually went a little further in her career when she set some boundaries about, okay, this is my role, and unless this is going to lead to the next step, I'm going to give this part back to you, because everyone would pile work onto her. Go, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? And she just accepted because she wanted to be loved. So we did a lot of work of just reframing her thoughts on
Mhm.
who she was and how she needed to show up. So I hope that was a good example. And I
That
hope
was
I
an
didn't go my
amazing
two
story.
minutes.
No, no, that was an amazing story because I I see a lot of women, mothers especially, even mothers who are entrepreneurial, and even mothers who are in the high position, like the high level positions, C-suite. They're still they're still playing these both of these roles, right? They're working their jobs, coming home, and still working, and still carrying tasks that could be easily delegated to other people within the household, their spouse, their children. And you're right. So more women need to coach with you.
Right. It always reminds me, I'm really going to date myself here. There used to be a commercial. It was called Angeli, and it said, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never let you forget that you're a man. So she had to do and be
Wow.
everything all the time. And that gets old. You know, other people, when
Mhm.
you allow other people to develop their skills and shine, you also grow as well. I mean, you
Mm.
give them a sense of accomplishment, and instead of enabling them, they're allowed to grow. You're actually stifling people's growth when you do too much for them.
Yeah, especially the children, because once they leave the household, they don't know how to do their laundry. They don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to do basic life survival, steps. And it's basically you enable it. You basically cripple them in a sense.
Yes,
You
I have
know,
a quick funny story with that.
talk to
My
me. Let's have fun with this.
my son went home where I am in Detroit, and he always hangs out with his cousins, and his uncle did not he didn't know something was wrong with the lawnmower. He didn't know what to do. It wasn't working, and when he got back, he said he needed to put oil in it. So, but he knew
Wow.
that. I mean, he was only 16 at the time, because we make
Oh,
sure that they are very empowered and enabled to do a lot of work at home.
there you go. There you go. I mean, it's extremely helpful. It's extremely helpful giving people the independence. And I'm glad you're doing that. So, Dr. Wilson, what drives you?
What drives me? A number of things drive me. Like I said, I want to serve. I want to be an example to my children, to people in the community. I want to create generational wealth,
Hmm.
and I just want to leave the world better, in a better spot than how I found it.
Mm.
I want people to say that I was a light, that I helped them on their journey.
Amen. Amen. Are you currently working on any new projects or programs, workshops that you can share with us?
Well, I just completed a journal called Unlocking Me, the Key to Your Authentic Self. And it focuses on some key areas. It focuses on self, family and friends, work, business ownership, and community. So I ask
Okay.
people with prompts to reflect on that. I'm also developing a group coaching program, so that I can serve more and expand to help people address burnout and imposter syndrome. So,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I'm bringing on a few more coaches so that we can do more corporate consulting and workshops. So I'm really excited about
That's awesome right there. It seems like you're doing a lot right now. You know, a lot of great things in the works, a lot of great
that.
things in the work.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, if someone were to inquire about your services or just want to get to know Dr. Kimberly Wilson, where can they find you?
Well, it's drkimberlywilson.com.
Okay.
And you can contact me there. You can set up an appointment for a free consultation. We definitely do a 30-minute consultation. So, whether or not they use services with me, like I said, my goal is to cure 5,500 women of burnout. So, you still will have a plan to execute even from that meeting if you decide, well, maybe we're not a good fit, but I left you in a better spot.
That's awesome right there. That's really, really awesome. So, Dr. Kimberly Wilson, I would like to say thank you for coming on today's episode of How May I Serve You. Thank you for bringing us your energy, sharing your stories with us, and being your authentic self. And last but not least, how may I serve you?
Well, you've done such a wonderful job connecting me with big. Is it big one? Big
B1G1.
B1G1. I know it's and that one always confuses me, like it's a an I. Yes, so that I can connect my company so that they can serve other communities and things at charities. So I'm happy about that. And just having me on your podcast has been brilliant. And if I can ever do anything for you, let me know.
Let's just keep in contact and continue to create impact. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
All right. So once again, thanks to all my listeners and my viewers. Thanks for coming on and consuming this podcast with me. And make sure to tune in to next week's episode. Stay tuned. Cheers. Much love.